So, running a basic shell script that executes a series of commands is one thing, but frequently we're going to want to run different commands based on certain circumstances. So, I'm going to do an ls-l, and you'll see that I've added in another little script here to demonstrate using an if command. So, let's go ahead and open that up and we'll take a look at it real quick. So here's what we have. See if the user wants to check and see if they have a private folder. So we're going to prompt them, do you want to see if you have a private folder? Yes or no. We're going to read their answer and we're going to store it in a variable called ANS. And then we're going to check and see if the answer equals yes. Now notice the way we did this here. We have if ANS and we have got a double equal sign. So single equal sign assigns a value. Double equal sign is going to check a character value. So if that is true, if it's a lowercase y, anything else, and it's going to skip down to the else, and it's going to say, okay, I won't check for you. But if they say yes, then we've got another comment here, check if the user has a private folder in their home folder and notify the user if they do not. So we're going to run another if. Now, this is something I want you to see. If exclamation point dash D. Now, the dash F will check to see if a file exists. The dash D will check to see if a directory exists. So, and then the exclamation point is a not. So if we don't have a directory named, and then a little tilde / private. So remember, tilde is home folder. We're looking for a private folder. Then, so if that's the case, they don't have it, then echo, you do not have a private folder. And then we're going to close that off with an FI, which is the reverse of if. Think of it as standing for finish, but basically what it means is close this if statement. And then we have the else, which we already talked about, and then we close that if statement. Now, if you don't close your if statements, they won't work correctly. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. We've got a couple of different if statements. We've nested an if inside one. We've got an if else. You can also do an else if as well if you want to check multiple things. If, else, if, else, if, else, if, and then finish. So this just gives you some examples of what this could look like. Let's check and see how it works. So I'm going to exit out, clear my screen, and what we have here, we don't have a folder named private. So I'm going to do period / private.sh. Now we're going to test this. Do you want to see if you have a private folder? Now I'm going to say anything other than Y. So the N is capitalized, and that was just my convention saying this is a default option. Anything other than Y shouldn't run it. So I'm going to say 6. It says, okay, I won't check for you. Perfect. Let me run it again. This time I'm going to say Y. Yes, I want to check. And it executes that, and it says, I don't have a private folder. Well, let me make one. mkdir private, and let's execute this again. Say yes, and this time it doesn't tell me I don't have one, therefore I know I do, because I didn't tell it to say yes, you have a private folder. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to remove -r, my private folder. And then I'm going to execute my script again. Yes, I want to check, and sure enough, now I don't have a private folder. So just to bring this up one more time so you can see it, here is the script illustrating how we were using those if commands to perform conditional logic inside our script.